Hello.
Hello.
Thing.
You caught me sharing the show.
Share it, share it. That's what I love. Share it, share it. There's a lot of times when I first go on and I'm like looking down and I'm like, I'm not being rude, I promise. I'm just sharing our show out.
Yeah,
How
I think we're
my
good.
friend?
How are you? Is the more important question.
Busy. I'm a busy little bee.
Yeah.
But not too busy for you, sir,
Oh,
ever. I just want to introduce myself to people that don't know. Tara and host the Paranormal Brew every Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming on Paranormal Brew and Powerpost Network and BB3 TV and Powerpost. I'm going live there. Why does it say I'm not going live there?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. So I have to. Sorry. Now see this? Remove.
I
And
can't
now
see
you can't see what?
it. What you're asking me to see.
I know. I know.
Yeah, I'm just clueless in Wisconsin at this point.
So I don't know yet. Okay, so there. I think we're good now. Okay. Anyways,
All right.
all right, we're back on. So yeah, so BB3 TV, it's streaming to and Powerpost Network. For everybody that does not know you, my dear, you're like the Saint Francis of animals on Earth.
Hi.
Can
You
you
know
just?
me well. You know me well enough now that I'm not all that good with compliments. So
I know you're not, but
yeah.
one day you're just gonna have to take it and realize all of the amazing things you are doing for animals all over. I want you I want you to be in every 50 states. I want you to go and travel and raise money for animal shelters all over.
I'm not so sure I want to go to Alaska. So can we just shoot for 49?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because if I ever win the lottery, I will totally 1000% support that mission.
I've never wanted somebody else to win the lottery so bad.
um, Couple people quick shouts, like and share out. Good evening, Indonesia, and Zhang's checking in again from Indonesia. Julie, uh, hello, and Tim, they're sharing out. Hi, Michelle, April, everybody. If you guys can please share this out, please, please, please. This is important. Tim, your event is this weekend coming up or next weekend?
Next weekend. You almost gave me a heart
Next.
attack there.
No. Next
Yeah.
weekend. Okay. So, can you just tell everybody how you got from being just Tim, finding Murray, like what it is that got you started with Pawtographs for Pooches and everything?
Well, if you ask me, I'm still just him, but I'll play along and I'll tell the story. Um, I got to go back to 2006
Mm-hmm.
to tell the story properly. Otherwise, people just don't understand. They just see a picture of a man and his dog, and they go, "Oh, that's cute and that's nice." But if they don't know the story, it doesn't mean anything. 2006, I moved into the house that I'm in, and lived here almost 16 years. Still haven't gotten a curtain for that window. So, lived here almost 16 years. Moved in under circumstances that weren't the best. I was going through a lot of personal issues at the time, and really knew I wanted a dog. It was the first time I had a chance to get a dog, first home I ever owned. So I started searching, searched for yellow labs, found a pit lab mix. He was beaten, abused. The person that had him tried to tear his tail off.
Mm.
So for his entire life, he couldn't wag his tail. On rare occasion, you would see it move just a little bit, and you knew he was really excited. When I contacted that shelter, they didn't want me to come and see him because it was a man that had done all this, and they were worried that he just wouldn't like men. As I always say, I convinced them that I was no ordinary man. They allowed me to come down and meet Murray, and at the time, his name was Striker. I ended up changing it because I didn't think a puppy that was beaten and abused should be named Striker. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I looked for the most gentle name I could find, and that's what I wanted out of him. I wanted him to be happy. And I went down to visit him, and this puppy that wasn't supposed to like me and broke into a full sprint and jumped into my arms. And it was meant to be. About a week later, I brought him home, and he was seeing and hearing the things that I was seeing and hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It was my first time ever dealing with paranormal activity, and to be quite honest, I was a little freaked out.
Now, this was in the house you were living in.
Yeah, and I still have things happen. I didn't say anything about it last night just because it's kind of old hat now, but we were going to bed, and this woman just yelled out hello.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so that was last night. But yeah, my mom won't stay here. She's not cool with it. But my mom's in the chat. She's Julie.
Oh, hi, Julie. Okay. Here?
Yep. And she is incredibly supportive. And a lot of this stuff I couldn't do without her.
Hi, Mom.
Because she watches the kids when I'm out of town. But anyway, I digress. So Murray was seeing and hearing the things that I was experiencing. And for the first time since moving in, I felt sane because someone else that was living was noticing this stuff. So we bonded pretty quickly, but I was still dealing with everything that I was dealing with, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. And in early 2007, that all got the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in my bathroom with the biggest knife I had, and I went through each family member and each friend, and I convinced myself why it would be okay if I wasn't here anymore. And just as I was about to do the unthinkable, I felt something on my arm. And I looked down, and it was Murray, and he's looking up at me. And I just remember thinking, how can I do this to him? You know, he finally found some place where he could be safe.
Yeah.
He needed somebody just like I needed him. And from that moment on, we were like father and son. And best friends. I've never had a better best friend in my life. I had just started doing the paranormal stuff in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Put together a team because I thought, there should be people out there that want to help. I had contacted some teams and never heard back from anybody. So that's how the paranormal side started for me. And the paranormal stuff just continued to grow. Word of mouth was amazing, and people started to recognize the fact that we were in this to help families. And 14 years later, started in 2008, so 14 years later, we've done over 300 residential cases. That's a part of me that I don't get to talk about a lot anymore.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
No, that's fine. You talk about whatever you want. I mean,
I love talking about Murray. I love telling his story, and that's what people tend to want to hear. So that's what I talk about. But sometimes I get in conversations and people look at me with this blank stare, like, "Holy crap, you know what you're talking about when it comes to the paranormal." I'd like to think I do. I've put enough time and effort into it, and very proud of what we've been able to do. And what we've been able to do in the paranormal field gave me that platform to do events.
Right.
And ended up on an episode of Paranormal Witness. And that kind of jump-started everything, gave me the platform to go and speak at conventions. And the thought crossed my mind. It's like, they're giving me this table, and there's got to be something I can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So came up with Pawtographs for Pooches. In the beginning, it was just pictures of Murray and I, which you can see over my shoulder right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of them. And I would personalize them at events, and we had Murray. There was a stamp made, and I keep it right here so I can just grab it whenever I need to. That's a stamp of Murray's paw, and we would sell them for $10 each, and every cent that we raised would go to a shelter in the area of the event. There really wasn't a whole lot of expectation, and the first event we raised $10. One person bought a picture. And eventually, we were raising almost 100, and then there was an event where we did 200, and that was that little Traverse Bay Parafest in Petoskey, Michigan. And the people in Michigan kind of put their arms around Pawtographs and said, "We're not going to let this fail." I never thought we'd be at the point we're at today. My buddy John Cassidy got a hold of me, and he said, "Hey, we should do an exclusive event and do an investigation, and all the ticket sales and everything go to the shelter." And I remember talking to John, and I'm like, "I don't think people are going to buy tickets to come and listen to us talk, John." And I couldn't have been more wrong. We had like 52 or 56 people at that first event, and we were full. It was a small building.
Mm-hmm.
And the first exclusive event, we raised $741.
It's awesome.
And at the time, I was like, "Holy cow, this is fantastic!"
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to last year in the middle of a pandemic, or what we were hoping was the tail end of a pandemic, and we raised $13,223 at one event.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at $73,696 total right now. And I always tell people, this was all about creating a legacy for Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted people to remember what he had done for me, and now what he's done for animals all over the place.
Stop me or make me cry. Say, you always make me cry.
And that's what's always important to me. I've always said that I will always play second fiddle to him. When he was around and able to do events, I loved watching him interact with people because he knew he was a child. And I just sat back like a proud papa.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that? Coming from an abusive home and then being able to turn around and be around people, strangers that he had no idea who they were. And he was like loved by every, you know what I mean? Like there was never, he wasn't ever, it just goes to show you those people that just think animals are just animals. Like there's no way. Like there's feelings, there's thoughts, there's emotion, there's this, there's that.
As long as he was around me, he was fine.
Yeah.
He knew I wouldn't bring him around situations that weren't safe for him.
Right.
And that was the relationship that we had. It was, obviously it was unspoken because we didn't speak the same language, but I just had to look at him and he knew what we needed to do.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And October 14th, 2019, Murray passed away. Still the saddest day. I still can't talk about it without getting choked up.
Mm-hmm.
But the paranormal world shared in the grief that day. And that was the most beautiful thing.
Right.
Is that there were so many people that cared so deeply about him. And I always say it was great that I got to share him with the world, but at the end of the day, he was mine.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody grieved harder than me. But that was a tough day. It was a tough few months afterwards. And
yeah.
We got through it though. We always, people always ask, follow-up questions, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But we had a deal, him and I, and I think I've talked about this on the show before. The deal was, you need to let me know that you're okay. You need to let me know you found Grandpa. And being in this field and having the friends that I do, the morning after Murray passed away, I woke up to 4 messages, all from mediums. And the first line of every message was, Murray needs you to know that he's okay.
Mm.
And he held up his end of the bargain. And now it's my turn. And that's why we keep pushing forward. And we keep doing what we're doing with Pawtographs.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's been a while since I cried during this, but
well, every time you say it, I cry.
But that's that's why we keep going.
Right.
And it's beautiful that we get to do events like we're doing, March 5th in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Events all around the country this year, and it keeps me busy. But I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing.
I honestly wish that I could I can't, me. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, I wish I could win the lottery. I wish I had all the money. Like I'm so in love with what you do. And I love that everything goes to these animal shelters, who desperately need help and money. And I just wish there was a way to get you to other places. And, that's my biggest thing is because there's animal shelters all over, that need help. Now, I think I asked you this before. Now, do the shelters that you work with, now, all right, so let's just say there's the animal shelter in New Jersey that was interested in being a part of your, I guess, program. Or,
yeah.
I mean, if you want to, right? I mean,
Sure.
Like
That's
what
fair.
yeah. would somebody have to do in order to have a Pawtographs for Pooches event You know what I mean? To help the local shelters in their area.
Best case scenario, we have a location. But even if we don't, if there's a shelter that wants to badly enough, we'll find a way. We'll
Right.
rent out a conference room in a hotel, and we'll just do speakers all day. And generally, if we do that, we'll have 5, 6, 7 speakers, but there'll be me, and then I'll bring in somebody that everybody knows, and then everybody else will be local and try to keep the cost down, and see what we can do. We're doing that at the Hinsdale House this year.
Yeah.
Dan got a hold of me and said, let's do another Pawtographs event. And we grabbed everybody local, and we're going to keep the costs as low as we can, and try to fill that place up and raise some money for a pit bull sanctuary out there.
That's so
which
awesome.
is near and dear to my heart, because not a lot of people realize it, but Murray was half pit, and most gentle, loving dog I've ever been around in my life.
And they are, and you'd be surprised, even when they come from situations like that. My brother was he was a pit bull rescue. Yeah, I mean, he rescued pit bulls from rescues and stuff, and he had somebody he had a dog named Mikey. Mikey, um, his mouth was wired shut, and he was used as bait for other pit bulls how teach how to fight, right? And for the grace of God, he survived. It was a long recovery, and the way they got him was because his girlfriend at the time actually worked at the vet hospital that Mikey was brought to. And long story short, he had to be rehabbed a little bit because I think he was very um, he was very traumatized by the stuff that happened. But eventually, he was like amazing. He was just the most loving baby, you know, and so I get it. I mean, and pit bulls get such a bad name, but they're so amazing. It's a shame. And pit bulls, I mean, pit bulls is a global category. Like you have all types of dogs in that umbrella of a
Yeah.
pit bull. It's just that people look for that typical pit bull, and automatically think they're bad dogs.
Yeah, and what it really comes down to, and I don't want to get on a big soapbox, but there's smaller dogs that bite far more. I had lots of opposites growing up, and they were little assholes.
Yeah.
And, Chihuahuas. I've been bitten by Chihuahuas. The difference is if a pit bull bites you, it's going to be much worse because they're very strong.
Right.
So you
And
don't
they have
hear,
lockjaw.
yeah, you don't hear all the time about the Lhasa Apso that attacked somebody, and
Right,
um,
right.
because they can't do a whole lot of damage. But if you have a pit bull or a German Shepherd, or even before that, it was Dobermans. It's always one breed or another that is the problem according to
Right,
society. And honestly, the problem is people that have ownership of these dogs.
right.
That's what it is. I mean, I've got Ray now, and then just lately Daisy. But I got Ray as a puppy, and I told myself I'm going to raise her the same way I raised Murray, and I will be damned if she didn't end up as a clone. She's pretty much the same as Murray was, and that's all I could have ever asked for.
Right. And I honestly can't believe that it's not totally like all over the place, this, because there's so many people that love animals and fur babies and will do anything to help out. I have all these like I'm friends with like all these pages on Facebook, like all these rescues and pets of this and pets of that, and I always want to share your event to those pages, but I'm always afraid like they're gonna go Ohio, Michigan, like why, but I don't know how to get the word out there, as opposed just only by having maybe you come on, you know what I mean, and you going on shows and stuff. Like, I don't know how else to get the word out there to people that, that it's such a good thing that you raise money that they could use and need.
Thank you. I do what I can, and like I've always told you, I just get to tell Murray's story, and if it touches somebody, it touches somebody. I did an event at the R Theater in Auburn, Illinois, a few weeks ago for Rob and Terry, and we raised money for Lost Limbs Foundation. I love Mike Couch. I think he does great things for kids, and I was very, very proud to raise money for his charity that day. After I got done speaking, a little girl came to my table. Later found out she was 11, and her mom said, "Tell Tim what you wanted to tell him." And with tears in her eyes, she looked at me and she said, "My cat Phoebe is my Murray."
Oh.
And that broke my heart. That an 11-year-old had been in that situation where that cat was what kept her there. What a kid. I mean, she was a wonderful kid. And before I left that day, I sat down with her and I told her, I said, "You made my weekend. You coming up and telling me that made my weekend." And it's just things like that, that really resonate with me. And, I've done events where I've gotten done speaking and I get back to my table and there's a line of people that want to talk to me. And that still baffles me to this day. I don't know why I don't expect it now, but every time it happens, it's pretty cool. And, those people want to hear stories about Murray.
Yeah.
And they want to hear stories about Molly and Ray and now, the next generation, Daisy. So
Yeah.
we keep going. And I made a promise to my boy that we're going to keep going. And this year could be the year that we pass 100,000. And
Oh, it would be so wonderful. That would be so
I will
wonderful.
tell you this: I'm not a big drinker, but if we pass $100,000 at an event, there's a good chance we're closing the bar.
This year, you're going to do that this year?
It's I'm hoping for a September event here in Wisconsin that we're going to pass the $100,000 mark. And yeah, so you got plenty of time to book your travel to Wisconsin, Taryn.
This is true. This is true. This is true. So it's Pawtographs for Pooches, Nighthawk. If you go to his website, do you want to go through your website or just go right to the page? I don't know if you want to tell people our website, how you want people to be able to, if they want to get the word out.
They can go to pawtographsforpooches.com, or they can just look up the Pawtographs for Pooches Facebook page. Either way, send me a message, say hello. I don't have a whole lot of room on my personal page anymore, so I used to tell people to come and send me your friend request. You can do that, but there's very little room, which, again, I never ever thought that would be a problem.
Good evening. No, but that's what's happening though. I mean, getting the word out there is the biggest thing. And then, I know the second I was told about you, I was like, oh no, this is like the best. This is the best thing that's ever happened. Now I didn't expect the story, which makes it even better because your story touches different aspects of, you've experienced the paranormal. You were in the paranormal field. Murray, was experiencing those things with you, and then you took Murray on your journey, to do this Pawtographs, and then, suicide prevention. I mean, it just kind of, it kind of just touches on, it feels like, I mean, like anybody of any of those three subjects would be able to come to you and talk to you, and you know what I mean, and help each other. Like you said, that little 11-year-old girl, you're her hero, but then she told you the story and you're like, you're my like, you made my weekend, so it's kind of like a little mini therapy session for you both.
For people that are looking for it, it's PAWTOGRAPHSFORPOOCHES.com. There you go. Yeah, go check that out. While you're there, I mean, you can go check out the 3 events that are listed on the website and maybe buy some tickets, or there is a donate button on the homepage. So either way, or just share the page.
Yeah, please. I mean, so we did a telethon last week, which was so fun. That was like really fun.
We had a good time.
It was fun. It was 3 hours, and Tim said that if they went past a certain amount, what was it, $1,000, if they raised $1,000 on the telethon, that he would eat the thing that he hates the most. And I totally sympathize with him. I don't know how you did it.
It is so awful. I don't understand how people can eat cottage cheese and go,
I
oh,
don't
that's
care what you add to it. I don't care what you add to it.
yeah.
You could add gold to it, or you could add like the best thing that you've ever put in your mouth to it, and it still wouldn't taste good. I was literally like not like nauseous while you were eating it. I was like, I can't believe he's doing this.
I was nauseous while I was eating it, so we were in the same boat. It was awful.
So how
Michelle's
much money?
asking,
What did she say?
Michelle's asking how much we raised.
Yeah, I was gonna. I don't see that yet. I don't think.
It was somewhere right about 1,600. And it's been put into the total right now of where we're at and how much we've raised, and we've also got $5,000 in corporate matches for that event from the place that I work at. So it's nice to have an employer that's supportive.
1,000%. I agree.
And
Oh, there it is.
I'm thankful.
I see it.
But yeah, we were right about 1,600 for that, and I don't want to give away the total right now of where we're at for the event, but we're looking good. We're hoping to get to 13,223 and break the record from last year, and if we keep selling some tickets and we do enough good things at the event, it's possible. So
and
that's all I can ask.
Well, you did 13,000 at one event.
Yes.
Prior.
And that was last year's Houghton Lake event. So that's why it's important this year that we try to break that and have a great event and start off the year the right way.
And so when you do you pick the shelters that you work with, or do they reach out to you? How do you disperse? Is this? I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it. I mean, I know that's all business, but as much as you can, maybe say like, I mean, you pick like 3 or 4 or 5, and you like kind of divvy the money up, or is there one shelter?
Every event we give to a shelter in that area. The Michigan events, we have done a few different shelters, but it's always to one shelter every year. The last few years, it's been Silver Muzzle Cottage, which is a senior dog hospice facility.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, we're donating to Northern Michigan Animal Rescue Network, which is the group that I originally started working with in Michigan when we first raised $741, and they thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I can't wait to hand them, 10,000 plus.
Right.
And see the look on their face.
Oh my God. You should do a live video of that.
Oh, I think we will. But yeah, that's one thing I should mention too. During the course of the event on March 5th, if you can't make it, they will be doing live cut-ins with the Cryptic Paranormal Show. They're going to be there. They'll be live on their page. They'll be live on the Pawtographs for Pooches page, doing interviews with people, maybe catching a little bit of lectures, and just trying to raise some money online too. Yeah, so that's going to be amazing. Your original question, how do we find these shelters? It's more about the locations that we're going to, and then finding a shelter that fits in that area. And first, we get the location, and then I'll ask the people in the area, hey, what do you recommend for a good no-kill shelter?
No-kill shelter. I mean, are there still a lot of those around?
The no-kill shelters?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. I mean the other way around. Are you finding when you're looking that there are still a lot of them around?
In the South, there's a lot. That's why so many northern shelters go south and grab a whole truckload of animals.
Right.
But we try to make sure it's a no-kill shelter. No, I should say that no shelter is ever 100% no-kill.
Right.
Because there's going to be situations where they cannot help the animal, and they will humanely put them down.
Right.
But we do our best to find a shelter that really is what we're about. We want to raise money for people that are trying to do the right thing. So like the July event, Dan Class has got that pit bull rescue out there that he really loves. And he said, hey, can we do an event here at Hinsdale? I'll give you the building. Let's just fill it up. And all the money goes to that shelter. And I said, I'm in. the one in Wisconsin for September is actually the people that got me Ray. So I'm doing the shelter. I'm doing the event for them, and that one is special because a few weeks after Murray passed away, they contacted me and said, "Hey, we got pit lab puppies coming up from Alabama. Which one do you want?" And that meant the world to me. So I got the same breed pit lab that Murray was, and then Daisy found us, and she's also a pit lab. So
yeah, we are.
I'm just rolling in the love over here, and life is good.
That's so awesome. This makes me sad. In Canada, they were banned. Are they still banned? Really? Because that's just so horrible. Like where did those babies go? It's like, what the sad thing about the whole thing is that we were the ones that domesticated these animals, and we domesticated them and we've used them and I'm talking about pit bulls, and the people that get a hold of these dogs and are solely using them for other purposes, I'm just going to say my biggest nemesis, which I was thankful that at least I got to give him the finger, Michael Vick. I would love to throw him into a ring with the very dogs that he tortured. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
one of the worst things about that situation is Michael Vick was one of my favorite players in the NFL.
Isn't that crazy?
I will say this though. There is something to be said for trying to rehabilitate yourself, and I'm not excusing what he did by any means, but I hope that eventually he figures out how bad it was what he did. And he can do some good with that. I try not to focus so much on the hate. Don't get me wrong, he's not my favorite NFL player anymore.
I can't even look at him.
I don't have a lot of respect for the man. But we all deserve a second chance. I just won't be the guy giving him that second chance.
Right. No, me neither. I loathe his existence. And I remember hearing that they allowed him to have, puppies again. And I said, first of all, he used his puppies that he had before, his pets, for bait. Why would he be allowed to have pets again? And a lot of people argue, oh, he did his time. I'm like, no, he did his time for the gambling part of it. He didn't, he didn't get help mentally for the sociopathic ways of himself, of how he killed these dogs. You know what I mean? And how he tortured them and murdered them and how he kept them. I'm like, he didn't do his time for that. That would be like letting a pedophile out of jail and letting him go work at a daycare and saying he's rehabbed because he did 18 months in jail. And that's not how it works. So, these rescues need help, not just on the standpoint of food and this and that. I mean, they need help because they're desperate to find homes for these babies, and you just don't want to give them to just anybody. I mean,
you got to be careful where they go. And last November, I was lucky enough to be a part of Old Mill Parafest. And as a part of that, my buddy Tim Woolworth took me to the shelter where he got his pup in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we toured that facility, and it was a fantastic facility.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with the place. And I'm not going to give it away, but there's a good chance you might see us working with that shelter next year.
Really? Where's that? Old Mill? Where?
Yeah, that's in Dundee, Michigan. But the shelter is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. If we do an event, it will be in Ann Arbor. But I fell in love with a pit bull that they had there. And she had been there, if I remember correctly, for 7 months. They had the intake date on her kennel. And I remember just sitting next to her and like looking into her eyes and reaching through and just petting her. And she leaned up against it because she just wanted love. And I made it my mission to find that dog a home. And her name was Zira. And about a week and a half after that event, after sharing her picture everywhere and offering to cover her adoption fee, she got a home.
That's awesome.
So, that was pretty cool for me that we were able to make that kind of a difference. And
now, would you ever foster?
Uh, I can't go over 2 dogs because honestly, with 2 dogs, that's about my limit. And people always, they bring up, would you get another or would you foster? I also have to remember mother, who watches my dogs when I'm gone.
Yes,
Uh,
true.
she has 2 of her own, so I certainly don't want her dealing with 5 dogs over a weekend. 4 is bad enough. Uh,
Hmm.
but like I said, she makes it possible for me to be able to do these things,
Right.
because I just wouldn't trust a doggy daycare with what has really become my babies. And you know, those
They
are
are your babies.
those are the things that are important to me. You know,
Yeah.
my 2 dogs, and to a lesser extent, my cat.
Hmm.
I say that
Hey.
tongue in cheek. But people always ask me, they're like, "How come Bo doesn't have his own Pawtographs picture?" Like,
He
Bo's
should.
Bo's a cat.
Yeah, but they're just as amazing. They really are.
the uh, the event after Murray passed, we had an event that weekend, and it was for a cat rescue, and it was all planned beforehand. And we raised over $3,000 for this cat rescue. And I remember saying at
Aw.
the end, I'm like, Murray's probably up there pretty pissed off because we just raised $3,000 for trees.
It's
um,
funny because I read an article, and I don't know how true this is, but I did read an article that cat people are more vocal and this is than dog support. Like cat people are like frenzy crazy people. You know what I mean? I'm a cat person, but then you have the dog people, and I'm not that I'm not a dog person. I love all fur babies. I love them all. Um, but they say that the cat versus the dog people, like the cat people are very, you would think it would be the opposite because who doesn't, there are people that don't, but I mean, like who can't bond with a dog? Cats are very independent, right? But dogs, they just automatically love you.
yeah.
I mean, even Michael Vick's dogs, let's face it, they still did, you know what I mean? They still looked up, yeah, they still looked up to him, they still loved him. I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe not love, but you know what I mean? They
But
still,
let's remember the crazy cat people are also the ones that have 30 of them.
yeah.
And yeah. No, I love Bo. I'm not so much a cat guy. Originally, when I had Murray, I got a cat, and his name was Bip.
Hmm.
And the reason his name was Bip is because he was bipolar. And one day he would love Murray, the next day he hated him, and then eventually they were best friends. Um, but um, he was Murray's cat.
Yeah.
He was Murray's cat, and that's why I had him. And people ask sometimes, have I ever seen spirits of animals? The day we had to put Bip down, that night, um, this giant shadow kind of dancing back and forth in my bedroom in pure darkness, and got my attention. I sat up, and Bip walked into the room, and I saw him plain as day.
Wow.
And he
Do you
walked
know?
up. He walked up, and he stood in front of Murray, and it was almost like he was saying goodbye to his friend. He
Oh.
was there for like 10 seconds, and then he was gone. Um, but um, when I got Ray, I already had Bo here. After Bip passed and after my divorce, I went and got Bo, and then it was Murray and Bo.
Hmm.
And then later on at an event, I brought home Molly, so it was Murray, Molly, and Bo. And unfortunately, I've lost Murray and Molly here in the last 3 years,
Yeah.
um, but we got a home of 3 again, and that's probably where we're gonna stay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was at 5 cats and 1 puppy, and now I'm at 3 cats and one puppy. So, uh, but my Zeus passed away 2 years ago in November, and you know, I just recently started seeing, I believe, seeing his shadow around. And I thought I saw him the other night in my kitchen. So, and I actually heard like so I saw a black cat, but I also have a black cat. I have Eris, he's a tuxedo, but in the dark, they look. You don't really see that when you're looking really quick. And he was sitting on the banister, and I opened the door to let Roscoe in, the dog, and I turned around, and who I thought was Eris jumped off of the banister, and I could hear him hit the floor. So I was waiting to see him walk. I'm like, where's he going? As I was also worried about the door being open because he got out like 2 nights prior to that, and I got him. But so I started to freak out because I was like, I had the door open and I heard him jump down, and I said, "Where the hell did Eris go?" So I started looking for him. He was passed out by the fireplace, hadn't moved. So I was like, that was Zeusy. That's who it had to have been, you know. So yeah, I just started seeing him around, and but it's been a while, and then I didn't think I would ever feel him, you know. But since you don't get to talk about the paranormal stuff too much, let's talk about it for a little bit.
Let's do that.
I know I asked you this before, but I do want you to just reiterate. You never brought Murray on a ghost investigation or anything, right?
No, I actually got asked that question at the end of a lecture in Michigan. And a couple of cast members from Ghost Hunters were in the room, and that was the season that they were bringing their dog.
Oh,
it was a hot topic, and I mean, I was very respectful. But when they asked me, when we go into a situation, we may think we know what we're walking into, but we never truly know. Surprises are on every investigation. So for me, I was doing this out of my own free will.
Right.
And I didn't want to use Murray as a tool, and I didn't want to volunteer him for something that he didn't understand. And he was also, he suffered from seizures his entire life. So I certainly didn't want to put him in a situation where he was going to have to deal with that. So never did have him on investigations. There were a few times when I would come home and things would follow me, and Murray would let me know they were there. But I never willingly put him in a situation.
Did you ever notice him get maybe unsettled by anything? Like maybe more protective of you, of something that you didn't see there?
A few times. He was always protective, though, and it was cute, And I always used to tell him, I'm like, buddy, if they get past me, we're screwed. So I appreciate you wanting to help me, but if they get past me, we're done for. But kind of a funny story when it comes to spirits and Murray. I had taken Murray to what's the name of it? Terrace Inn in Petoskey for a couple of events that we did. So he was there, and the inn was haunted, but we never really investigated. We just kind of hung out and never really encouraged any activity or any
right.
But he had been there, so we went there one March. We got the place to ourselves for the weekend. It was shut down during March, and we were doing some investigations, and Tim Woolworth was with us, and he had a ghost box, and we were in one of the rooms where they said they used to run poker games. So we were talking and having a good time and trying to interact with the spirits that were in the room. And through the ghost box, all of a sudden, a little boy came through. So we're talking to the little boy, and it's just a conversation. I can't remember the specifics, but at one point, I asked the little boy, do you remember me being here before? Do you remember my dog? And the little boy didn't answer, but it was a man, and the man said, "Did you bring Murray this weekend?"
Stop it.
And I never said his name. I just said my dog. And everybody,
I got chills.
Everybody in the room looked at each other like, "Holy crap!" But yeah, I mean, like the spirits were asking for him.
Wow,
so it was pretty cool. But we also ended that ghost box session relatively quickly after that because, quite honestly, it kind of freaked me out. But
I mean, it just gave me chills. Like that is so crazy. Like a full sentence like that, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was clear as day, and everybody in that room kind of looked at each other like, "What the hell did we just witness?"
That's so awesome. I would have kept going.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what though? That's awesome.
It is. I went into protection mode though.
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh, wait a minute." First of all, we were talking to a little boy, and then this man just appears,
right,
and starts communicating with us, and so yeah, and it was, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So So you have Murray, you're still doing paranormal investigations even after that, right?
Yeah, I mean we're never really on a hiatus. It's just whenever a family contacts us.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go periods where there's nothing for us to do, and then we'll go periods where we've got an investigation every weekend for 2 months. So we just kind of make it work. But you enjoy the downtimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be like, oh God, we got to get another investigation, and then I realized, once we get on a roll and we got 7 or 8 of these in a row, I get kind of burnt out. So I would like to have a weekend off. So when we have a weekend off, I enjoy it and spend it with the dogs or go see some friends. And you got to make sure you got a healthy balance.
Absolutely. And do you guys do historical places?
From time to time,
Mhm.
not really much in Wisconsin though.
Yeah.
Just
That 70s show?
eh, it's I I uh I don't actively hate Wisconsin. I just don't really love it either.
Oh,
Especially this time of year. Um, it was 20 degrees today and everybody was happy. You know,
happy.
yeah, and I'm waiting for another month from now when we might hit 40.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no. Oh no, 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 no. It was 70 in Jersey today, but I actively hate New Jersey. Everybody knows it. And everybody that knows me knows how much I hate New Jersey. It doesn't matter what the weather is. So, but no, if 20 is happy, I would be hibernating
there,
my whole life away.
there's usually at least 1 week during the winter where we don't get above 0 for about a week. And usually at night we get down to about 15 or 20 below. And yeah, it's cold. It's it's
It's
but on the flip side, we don't have giant snakes, we don't have alligators, we don't have things that want to kill us. Um, so
Yeah, yeah. Jersey doesn't have that, and also I'd have to say Jersey doesn't have that many, knock on wood, natural disasters. Um, that you have to worry about, like a lot earthquakes, tornadoes, and tsunamis, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But I still don't like it. We have good food, but that's about it. You love Jersey. I don't love Jersey.
Troy says he's going to keep the gators.
Keep the gators.
No, thank
Well,
you.
yeah. See, now that stuff I love. I love reptiles. I love all kinds. I think that stuff is cool. I mean, I'd stay away from that kind of stuff, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
if I lived in Florida, I would never golf. I'll tell you that. Because I'm rarely in the fairway. So you don't want to be on the edge of a pond or something, and golf's not that important.
So, when you're investigating, um, do you use equipment? Is somebody getting impatient in there?
She's in her kennel right
Yeah,
now, and she's losing her mind because the neighbor came in. So yeah, you can hear her,
I
but
can hear.
I do have a door closed. But yeah, the question was equipment.
Yeah, do you like using equipment, or do you?
I'll use anything once, and if it's going to work for us and be helpful for our client, we'll definitely use it. I'm not real big on equipment though. Um, I've always been the kind of guy, like, I don't want to be stuck staring at lights.
Hmm.
It's something that could happen right in front of my face. So, um, yeah, she is losing her mind right now.
I hear
Yeah,
her.
but
Do
she's
you?
she feels better, so that's good.
Yeah. Do you want to check on? I mean, do you want me
Yeah,
to?
I'm gonna walk in there and just give her the look of the look of God.
You just want to
And
check on her, make sure she's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, she's okay. I'm just gonna explain to her how she's interrupting daddy's interview. I'll be right back, and when I get up, try not to stare at my butt.
Oh my God, I will try
Uh,
not to.
okay.
Well, while he's gone, I'm just going to plug Pawtographs for Pooches. Please, everybody, just go. And even if you donate like $10, anything helps. It's such a great cause, and Tim is such a good person. And the proceeds go to these shelters, especially the shelters that probably don't get much. The pit bull shelters and the shelters that and the rescues that don't get a lot of attention. Really need it. Was she okay?
Yeah, she's fine. As soon as I walked out there, she kind of started wagging her tail and looked at me like, "Oops, sorry."
No. Oh, no, no, no. You're fine. I wanted to make sure she was okay for sure.
No, she's fine.
Um,
Just she doesn't
Brian,
like my neighbor.
Brian from Honophobia, he said that puppy mills are banned in Canada, which they should be. Uh, I agree. And then Mount Laurel Animal Hospital, yes, that's where I took my Zeus the second time, and they took good care of him for sure. Mount Laurel Animal Hospital, donate. Yes, Dana. Dana donated. I know
Yes, she did.
she is a saint. I donated. I said I'm donating, and oh, there. So there's people that are campaigning for me to be mayor of Gettysburg.
Oh, don't you have to live there though?
He's going to mayor of Gettysburg. I would love to live there. So yes. So if that's got to be the reason that I get to Gettysburg, as I become the mayor, I'm all for it.
I have to get to Gettysburg. I haven't
You
been
do,
there. I haven't
Tim.
been.
If you're going to go to Gettysburg, I promise you, like I will meet you and I'll take you around. Show you I know that sounds like the back of my head with my eyes closed.
That's why you're the mayor.
That's why I'm the mayor. Yes.
Yeah.
I know it historically, paranormally, all the good places to eat and drink and everything. It's like I almost like I've been to probably everywhere. So it's like I have an opinion about all the restaurants, the foods, the ghost tours, the ghost hunts, the places, the hot spots, everything. So you have to get to Gettysburg.
I have to.
You
I
have
was
to.
supposed to be there last year.
Oh, the
But
bash.
no, I can't. Phenomenology.
Phenomenology. What happened?
Well, they had to cancel it the first time or postpone it because of
Mhm.
COVID, and the airline wouldn't give me my money back. So when I was invited the second time, and I just couldn't make it happen. So
Wow.
had to
I
back
would have
out.
met you. I was there. We would have
Yeah,
met.
we would have,
Um,
and
yeah.
you would hate me by now. So it's better this way.
Ow, would you stop with that? It's so false. I already know you. And like I said, I know Murray through you. Like I feel like I've met Murray.
Well, I tried to make that a thing where people would care about him as if they had met him.
It's
Um,
totally.
yeah, he was. I should say is. Otherwise, I'm going to get a strongly worded message from one of my medium friends. He still is, the guiding force behind Pawtographs, and he's got a lot of things going for him. Yesterday, when Ray was in the hospital, I was like, I know you and Molly are going to take care of her, so I'm going to try not to worry too much. And he's always looking out for his old man.
Well, you know what's crazy is like every time you say that, like every time you talk about um Murray being the driving force and Murray being this is Murray's legacy. This is Murray. This isn't me. Like you take no credit for any of this. You're like, this is all Murray. I 1000% feel that in my heart. Like I can just see him. Like I can see him like just okay, like just running the show. Like this is how it is going to be. This is what's going on. This is what you do. Dad, you're over here. You're over here. Blah blah blah. And just running it.
I had this discussion with my good friend April Roan a few months ago. She always tries to get me to take more credit than I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her flat out, I was like, Murray runs this. As far as I'm concerned, Murray's the king. It's funny because if I have something that goes wrong in my life and I'm looking to a higher power for guidance, I don't know how people are going to take this. I don't bother with God.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to my boy.
Yeah.
Because I know if he can help me, he's going to.
Right.
It's not that I don't believe in God. I very much do. I have my own beliefs. But when the going gets tough, I either talk to my dad or I talk to Murray.
I talked to my dad.
And I told April that one day. I was like, he's the king, you know? And she replied to me and she says he's smiling because he says he'll be the king until you get there and then you can take over.
No.
And just my boy,
Yeah.
I've never been more proud of anything in my life. And if we're able to do things and and raise money for shelters in his name, then we're going to keep doing it.
So I have a tough question, and you can answer it or not answer it. Obviously, the legacy needs to continue, right? Like, do you have anything set up as to where, like, God forbid, something, what if something were to happen that you were unable to do it? Like, is there somebody that will pick up the torch and, you know, keep working on this?
I I do have that
Mm-hmm.
set up. If something happens to me, I want one more podcast event, just one more, and I want it to be a memorial for Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and honestly, in a perfect world, I'd be sitting there with Murr with my arm wrapped around him and just enjoying the hell out of everything. But I'm in a good place now.
Mm-hmm.
For a very long time, I wasn't, and there were times when I told people I was in a good place, and I wasn't. But I am now because I promised my boy,
Yeah.
and I promised him we're going to keep going, and I'm not going to hurt myself. So I'm good now. But I've said this before on shows: like, if something does happen to me tomorrow, and I'm no longer here, I don't want people to be sad. I want people to understand that the greatest reunion in the history of people and dogs is happening.
Yeah.
And I want people to smile and just remember what we tried to do,
Yeah.
um, it's team effort, but nobody's buying a picture of me,
Mm-hmm.
without him, and nobody's buying a sweatshirt with my handprint on it.
Right.
So this
Absolutely.
is Murray's thing, and it'll always be Murray's thing.
And I love and I love it. I love it so much that it goes to. I was saying while you were away, I was like, the pit bull rescues are probably, the ones that struggle the most. I mean, because of all of the stigma wrapped around pit bulls. People are like, would be less reluctant to donate food, to donate, blankets, to donate, stuff that these shelters need. So having a pit bull rescue to donate money to, or having the places that are like really struggling, um it's just, you're like you're God sent.
Yeah.
You're Murray sent.
Yeah.
Okay, is that better?
um, I mean, I don't want people to think that I don't realize what we've accomplished. I'm very, very proud of what we've done, but I'm
Mhm.
certainly not going to sit here and beat my own chest about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's his thing. It'll always be his thing. And March 5th, when we get together in Holton Lake and everybody's having a great time and we're raising money for the animals, I guarantee you every speaker there is going to say something about Murray.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Pawtographs events different.
Yeah.
There's one goal. There's one absolute goal. Every day that we do a Pawtographs event, the whole time I got people coming to the table and asking how good we're doing. Where are we at?
Yeah.
And I've got people dropping $100 bills on the table.
It's awesome.
And buying sweatshirts like they're going out of style, and like, it's just a different vibe.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's there for one reason, and I just sometimes I sit in the corner and I just smile because we created this, and yeah, it's pretty damn cool, if I'm being honest. And
Oh, it's awesome.
we were able to do these things, and thank God we're able to get back together and do events.
Are the events pet friendly?
For the most part, no. The shelter will bring one or two dogs,
Mm-hmm.
just to showcase what's at the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we do this one in a conference center, and I'm sure the hotel doesn't want,
1,000 dogs running
yeah.
around.
It's easier. It's easier to control things. It's also one of the reasons I don't take Ray to
Yeah.
the events have gotten so big now, and there's so many people that it's just difficult to keep track of her and make sure she's safe and make sure she's comfortable. I don't want to stress her out, so she gets to go hang out with grandma for the weekend and be spoiled. And I get to FaceTime with her. I call and I tell her how we're doing.
Aw.
Yeah, so it's
Well, that's the thing. Oh, excuse me. It's not you. It's not you.
I have,
Um,
I have bored you to tears.
no, stop that. Never. Um, oh crap. And now I forget what I was going to ask you. Um, uh, I forget. Damn it. It had something to do. You were saying about going to events with mom and not taking Ray. And then these are all just 1 day events.
In March it is. In April we do have a private investigation the Friday before.
Hmm.
We had a drawing for people that had bought tickets before the new year. And that winter we'll get to investigate with some of the speakers the Friday night before. July is just a 1 night event,
Hmm.
and then September is just a 1 day event too. We tried to do a Friday thing last year in conjunction with the Houghton Lake event,
Hmm.
and I'll be honest with you, it kind of felt like a money grab, and I didn't feel comfortable.
Oh, okay.
So we cut it out this year. So we'll see how we do without it. I mean, it was one of those investigations where we ended up not getting any access to the building we were in without the public, and it
Okay.
made it ridiculous.
Yeah.
We were trying to investigate, and I didn't feel comfortable with it. And at the end of the day, I just kind of felt like we were taking people's money, and I would rather take their money because they want to than take their money and promise an investigation that we can't deliver.
Yeah, that sucks. That does suck. Um, and then at the events also, are there other like types of vendors and stuff like that that
Yeah,
people can walk through?
we have 11 vendors. Check that, 12 vendors at the event in Houghton Lake in a few weeks, and then every speaker has their own table. So
Right.
I think there's 20 or 21 tables for you to walk around in, and then the adjacent room is where all the speakers are. So we're
So
all in
really,
one area.
all right, I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know if you have a list in front of you, but who's going to be, who's going to be some special guests that are going to be there next weekend at your
Oh,
Pawtographs for Pooches?
well, the speakers we have Brian Cano from Caught on Camera, and also Haunted Collector. Yeah, that's it. I always forget the show he used to be on.
Yeah.
And then Paul Bradford from Ghost Hunters International and Trending Fear. James Anito, Keith Johnson, Carl Johnson will be there. Myself and Todd Arnold, April and Braxton Roan, Deb and RJ DeRoos. I'm running on empty here. Tim Woolworth, John Casty's emceeing the entire thing, and I'm probably forgetting somebody, and I'm very, very sorry for doing that.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have an amazing time.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just like I said, those events are one goal in mind, and Michigan always comes out for that event and proves to us that they're behind Pawtographs.
That's awesome. Well, I'm behind Pawtographs, and I love how I know there is a lot of drama in the paranormal community, and there's a lot of competition, but it's things like this that go to show you that there really is more unity than there isn't. It's just when you can raise over $73,000 for what I mean, for animal shelters, and it's the paranormal community that's coming together to do that. You can't do that if everybody hates everybody. you know
And I should also mention that we're not just paranormal anymore. This May, we're having our second Pawtographs Golf Scramble.
Oh,
The golf course that I play league at, they asked if we would do a scramble last year, and they ended up donating $1,400 to us, and
oh, that's awesome.
this year we moved it to May, and we're probably going to triple the amount of teams we have. So who knows where we're going to end up? But
In Maine?
May, the
Oh,
month,
May. I thought you said
yeah,
Maine.
no, it's in
Maine.
Wisconsin. I do not play golf league in Maine. That would be a horrible commute.
I was like, why is he going to Maine? Sorry.
It's fine. I'm trying to get over a cold, and my enunciation is not so good.
Oh, so
Yeah.
my brothers call my stepmother Bob now because when they were little and their nose were so stuffed up, every time they were say mom, they would say Bob.
Yeah.
They still call her Bob to this day. But Tim, it was been a pleasure to have you. And I have been pushing this Pawtographs, you know what I mean, for I don't know. This is your third time on my show,
It
so
is. I'm fairly certain people are going to get sick of me at some point.
never. And I
Um,
don't care. I don't care if it's just me and you. You know, like this is important. This is important to me. Not only my love for animals, but like I said, I feel like I know I know Murray. I feel like I know him. I feel like I could if I close my eyes, I feel like I could see him like around you. You know what I mean? And just doing his thing, you know what I mean, and
yeah,
working it and working it, you know, and pulling the ladies in, and you know, we just I could just see him, you know, and that's it. That's what makes it even double special, you know, because I feel like you know, whatever little bit I can do, I'm doing for you and Murray, you know, you know,
well,
pushing
thank
it
you.
out, and yeah,
Thank you for always supporting us, and I certainly appreciate it. And I love being on the show because
love
it's just
having
like
you.
coming on the show and talking to a friend and just having a conversation. So,
Yeah. And
uh,
then you know what? Next time you come on, we'll talk paranormal, more a little bit more paranormal. I don't want to
okay,
leave Murray out of it. I
yeah,
mean, he's
we can't leave Murray out because
we can't
I'll have to deal with him afterwards.
we can't leave Murray out.
That little diva, but no. Thanks again for
No.
having me on and
I,
letting me talk about my boy.
oh, anytime. And I just have one more thing: the cottage cheese.
Oh God,
After you ate the cottage cheese, for anybody that's just checking in, there was a telethon. And Tim said that he would eat the thing he hates the most, which somebody in the chat already said that you have eaten worse. So I don't know what that was about. So
we used to do these food challenges where if we lost, we had to eat all this horrible stuff. And head cheese is disgusting, but honestly, cottage cheese is the worst thing in the world for me.
in the world, I agree.
Like the texture, and
It
just
doesn't even
the idea of it. Like when people eat it and they talk to you, they just they got this mouthful of white creaminess as it's just
and
disgusting to me.
chunky,
Yeah.
chunky.
And like I ate that little bit after the telethon and I was picking it out of my teeth and like,
Oh,
ah,
did you see I wrote that comment? I'm like, are you
yeah.
getting it out of your teeth? Because I remember.
Like who does this for fun? Like
Everybody's like, put peaches. I'm like, I love peaches, but and peaches are like the best thing on this earth, but that can't even help cottage cheese.
no.
There's just no helping. The whole time you're eating it, because I remember I was offered some at a restaurant one time. They're like, just try it, it's good. I'm like, okay, and I put a spoonful in my mouth, and I was like, instant.
Yeah, it is really gross. And then,
Instant threw up.
yeah.
Just putting it in my mouth, I threw up.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about you afterwards. I'm like, I wonder if his stomach was upset all night. Like, because you were actually eating it. Like, I think I would be nauseous for the rest of the night. Like, I would just be sick.
I ended up eating about a half pound of it.
You did. You kept on, you were just shoveling. And I was like, oh my God, what is he doing?
Because I promised, we're gonna get over $1,000. I'm gonna do this. I couldn't eat the whole thing though.
No.
Well, that would have taken me forever. But I did put a good dent in it, and I have not touched it since. It's it is sitting in my fridge. So
oh, I would be throwing it out. I'd be
if anybody wants it, let me know.
Sell it for a donation for Murray.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to eat out of the same cottage cheese bowl that I did. Yeah.
I love it. All right. I will let you go. I am sure your babies are, waiting for you.
Yeah. We're going to go finish up our forensic files from our DVR.
Great show.
And then probably go to bed. But again,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on.
It's always good talking to you. And,
Always. I always love having you on, and I love promoting Pawtographs for Pooches. And I'm hoping that everybody watching goes and makes a donation, even if it's $5, just throw something that way, do something, buy a shirt, buy a sweatshirt. I'm going to do that. Actually, I want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'm going to go buy one.
Michigan. Let me get through Michigan, and then we'll figure out what I got left, and I'll get a hold of you.
Yeah. Well, I'll still buy it. I it supports the cause. You know what I mean? So I totally, I want a sweatshirt. Or something.
Yeah, even if the only thing I have left is a 4X.
Oh, I'll wear it all the time. It's like a dress. I'll go out. I'll put heels on. You'll see me with my partner. Hey, listen, if it's a 4X and I go next year, I'll show up to the photographs in my 4X sweatshirt, my heels.
Yeah. Well, you got to start making your travel plans for Ripon, Wisconsin, September 17th.
Yes, yes,
That's where we're
yes.
going over 100 grand. So
You
that's a
think
big one.
that sounds like a big one.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, it's worth it.
Wisconsin, that's far.
Yeah, and it's still it's not cold that time of year.
Oh
So
no.
you'll be good.
All right, I believe you. I trust you.
Yeah. I wouldn't lead you into the frozen tundra. So
No, I wouldn't go. I would freeze. I would freeze. I would froze. All right, I will let you go, dear. Thank
all
you
right.
so much for coming on. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
soon.
See you soon. Thank
Love
you.
you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye. Whew. Never get through that one without crying because he's just, love him. If you guys could please just, go to Pawtographs for Pooches and share it out. If you can't donate, totally get it, but share it out. Share. Ask for people if they can just donate to whatever. I mean, it's such a great cause and helps out all the fur babies all over the place. So proud of Tim for what he's accomplished in 3 years. 3 years, 73,000. It's awesome. Yes, I will do a sweater dress. I'm not even kidding. and a legit sweater dress. Like it wasn't even. I feel like I'm too close. Hold on. Does this do something? I feel like I'm really close to you guys. But it would be a legit sweater dress. It would be a hoodie and all probably, and I'll throw my heels on and call it a day. But anyways, everybody join me next week. I don't have a show. It is my birthday, March 2nd, and that is a Wednesday. And I don't have any plans, but I also just wanted to kind of have a day where I didn't have to, do anything. So I'm probably going to play a past episode of mine, one of my favorites. So I won't see you guys next Wednesday. I'm going to have a replay on, but the following Wednesday, I hope you join me because I will have Kenny Biddle on, and Kenny and I are going to put to bed Robert Riggi, the guy that plagued our community and used our platform to try to whatever it is that he was trying to do. Who knows? But anyway, we're going to show all the facts, show all the documents, show everything that we found. And I'm going to put that to bed. And we'll also talk to Kenny about skeptic stuff because, Kenny always has to talk about skeptic stuff. So I hope you join me. Zhang, thank you so much. Alita, thank you. I miss you, Alita. Chaos, Jossie, everybody, Dana, my peaches that were here. Love you all so much. And Raymond and Brian, of course, always a pleasure. And I definitely, what would Kenny do? What would Kenny do? Exactly. So I will have Kenny on March 9th. That's my next show. I say now I'm not going to have a show, but maybe I'll just go on for a little bit myself, and I can have a happy birthday little thing for half an hour. I don't know, but depends. As of right now, I'm not having a show, but maybe I will. But yeah, the Kenny Biddle. And then the following week, I'm going to have April, my best friend April, on to do free readings. So make sure you check in for that. I will be on a couple of shows in between that, but also want to give a shout out to Brian and Huntophobia Canada, Parapost Network, BB3 TV, Unrestricted Paranormal, and also what? Oh, Alita, you're so cute. I love you. What would Taryn do? Parapost Network for sure. And Brian has been such a huge part of my life to help me through this process of all this Paranormal Brew stuff and paranormal. So I appreciate him a lot. And I think that's all I wanted to say, really. Like I said, I'll be on a couple. And I'll be doing a couple investigations, so Paranormal Brew will go live for those as well. But anyways, I hope I see you guys soon. Love y'all. Like and share everything for support. Bye, guys.